Vamos caralho, brothers, this is your boy JTL, and welcome back to another episode of South Stand Signings, the series, of course, where we go through everything happening around the world of Leeds United, and we have a little talk about it. And yes, a couple of days on from Kalvin Phillips going, and Leeds United are starting to turn the gears a little bit. We're up to fourth gear now, not quite going for the jugular when it comes to replacing him yet, but there are moves happening thick and fast. Now quickly, before we do start, recent reports have shown that 72% of you are not subscribed. If you can help support me, support you by hitting that subscribe button down below and hitting the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future content. But let's not waste any more of your time. Let's get straight into the meat of the action. And the first story is surrounding that man Kalvin Phillips, who at this current time of recording is still actually yet to have his Manchester City medical. So there is still a tiny chance that he does stay at Leeds United. I think it is already pretty much done. However, with his injury record, you do never know. A disaster could strike. I hope that doesn't happen, to be honest, because now that everything has happened, if he was to get lumbered over at Leeds after, I think it would kind of just leave a bitter taste in everyone's mouth, including Kalvin Phillips's. So I hope for his sake the deal does go through. However, TalkSport pundit Tony Cascarano apparently been coming out giving Manchester United the big one, saying, why the hell did you let him go over to Manchester City? He's saying basically would have solved their entire midfield deficiency problems. And yes, that is very true. However, as we know, he was never going to go over to Manchester United. However, he has gone over to Manchester. And it's funny, I was listening to some debates yesterday. I was seeing a lot of action on Twitter. People talking about the fact that he has ditched the White Rose of Yorkshire for the Rose of Lancashire. Even though he is playing for the Blues of Manchester City, apparently crossing that divide over to Manchester is enough of a cardinal sin for a lot of you guys out there. I'm really interested to know what you guys actually have to say about it, because technically he is still the enemy of the enemy, because, you know, Manchester City and Man United have a rivalry themselves, so he's not exactly against them. And me personally, I don't really care about Manchester City. I don't mind them. I actually quite like Manchester City. I don't have any kind of rivalry with them. Like, even though they are from Manchester, I mean, I have more of a rivalry with Chelsea, who are from London, where there isn't necessarily as much of a divide with Leeds United. So it is an interesting debate. People are saying maybe if you come from Yorkshire, it's a bit of a different story, but I don't see it as that big of a deal, him going to Manchester City personally. Let me know what you guys think, like I said, because it is a very interesting debate. And the fact that he has gone has now left an even bigger debate, and that's who do we replace him with? And a lot of you guys have been looking at this guy right here, Charles de Ketelaere, and Leeds are apparently ready to submit a club record equaling bid to sign Club Brugge for Charles de Ketelaere this summer. According to the Daily Mail, the Whites will submit a £26 million bid for the highly rated 21-year-old Belgian attacker that will equal the fee they paid to Valencia 2 summers ago in order to secure the services of Spanish forward Rodrigo Moreno. However, I was hearing other reports that Leeds are apparently ready to table a £34 million bid. Maybe we're trying to toy with them a little bit and get them to lower their valuation so we can get them a little bit cheaper. It is interesting. Personal terms is the key part of this deal, and once that is agreed, we expect the rest to fall into place and for Leeds to make their 4th major signing. They will undoubtedly be tabling another bid worth a higher valuation, so if the 21-year-old joins, he will be the club's record signing. So there you go. They're basically saying that they expect us to make another move after this transfer is probably declined and try and offer about 30 to 34 million pounds. However, will that even be enough? Because a story that actually was published slightly earlier on in the day by Mark Smith completely blows this transfer out of the water, and that is saying Leeds United may be pushing for Charles de Ketelaere. However, his players' entourage have made contact with the club, and apparently Leeds United have been informed by the entourage of Club Brugge star Charles de Ketelaere that he does not want a move to Elland Road, according to Alexander Breichman. The RTL sports journalist has reported that the Whites are still pushing for the blockbuster new transfer, with Rafinha seemingly on the way out this summer alongside Kalvin Phillips. However, it is shared that the track is getting very cold on de Ketelaere, with a move looking unlikely as things stand, although anything can change in the world of football. Writing on his personal Twitter account, Breichman shared the latest developments as a contact was initiated between the two parties already. Update: Charles de Ketelaere's entourage have let Leeds know that they are not interested in joining the club despite their interest. Leeds are still pushing, but the track is getting very, very cold very quickly. If anyone can turn this around, it would be Victor Orta. We saw the image of the Spaniard supposedly boarding a plane to Belgium, so he may have already made his famous presentation to the potential new arrival. This is not good news, is it? This is not good news in the slightest. It's not looking very good at all for Leeds' pursuit of Charles de Ketelaere, and it looks like it's going to be another one of those ones that if we have any chance of getting it done, it is going to go down to the wire, with basically the player and the club trying anything they can to get him to go anywhere else. And it does look like one of those ones that we might just miss out on. Obviously, I don't know 100%. Like I said, there are varying reports saying different things. Some saying we're going to make a club record bid for him. Some saying that he's done and the entourage doesn't want to move here. It just seems a little bit fishy to me. It just seems like he doesn't really want to come here. Let's not forget, there are a lot of factors that are unfortunately against Leeds United and very detrimental to us signing new players. First of all, the manager, Jesse Marsch. I know he has a bit of a draw with the Salzburg and Leipzig Dons, but generally he's not a world-renowned manager like a Marcelo Bielsa, who can draw in talent just because of his name and his reputation alone. Unfortunately, because Jesse Marsch is still relatively early on in his managerial career, you've got the position of Leeds United right now, financially and position in the league. Financially, we don't have a lot of money to compete with the likes of AC Milan, West Ham, even Aston Villa, these sort of clubs. We just finished 17th in the Premier League. You know, if he's looking over at that, he's like, ooh, is that necessarily the biggest draw we could be going for? You look at the fact that we've just sold our best two players in Kalvin Phillips and Rafinha. So then he's also looking at that. He's like, is this a selling club? Is there much ambition to move forward here? And finally, it's Leeds. I think Yorkshire's a very beautiful place myself. I think Leeds is an elegant, classy city myself. A lovely, homely place. However, especially for these foreign exports, it's not really the most desirable place for them to live. The weather isn't the best. There aren't that many top attractions. If you look at a big capital city like London or somewhere like Milan, these places are a lot more attractive for these players to live in. And unfortunately, that is a factor that you do have to take into account with this. And it looks like, from everything I'm hearing, these could be big reasons as to why de Ketelaere might not want to come over here. Obviously, being wanted by a lot of other clubs. Obviously, this move is still developing, and we'll let you know more information once we get it. But let me know down below if you think we have a shot of getting this one done. Now, speaking of another winger we could be getting to replace him, and another £26 million bid. Ironically, it is that man Otavio, and Leeds United are chasing Otavio as Liverpool lurk in the shadows. Leeds United's target, Otavio's agent, is in England working to secure a move for the Porto man, according to the latest report in the Mirror. The Mirror again popping off today. The Whites had a £26 million proposal turned down for the attacker, but according to A Bowler, they are readying a new bid for around 40 million euros or 34 million pounds. Liverpool are thought to be planning a bid for the same amount of money as they look to replace the now Bayern Munich star Sadio Mane, with Porto reportedly expecting a bid. And it's funny they touch on Sadio Mane going. There's also rumours of Mohamed Salah leaving Liverpool as well, which will lead to some very interesting developments with the Rafinha debacle, which we will get into in just a second. However, right now we are talking about that man Otavio, and it does look like, although they may have a £51 million release clause on him, it will take only around £34 to £38 million for Leeds to do business with the Portuguese champions. Now, is this a guy you want? Is this a guy you think is worth £34 million? Why are we only apparently tipping around with £26 million with de Ketelaere, but apparently willing to spend £34 million on Otavio? Do you rate him as highly as the other players? It does look like we are going to be in tough contention with Liverpool for this one, especially with, as they say, Sadio Mane leaving. And I think this could have major impacts with the Rafinha situation, because we're still not sure as to whether Rafinha is going to make the move over to Liverpool, Arsenal, Tottenham, or he's going to go abroad to Barcelona. There's still a lot of question marks over that deal itself. However, their interest might be pushed elsewhere, with Liverpool apparently submitting a £51.5 million informal offer to sign Rodrigo from Real Madrid. Does this push them off Otavio? Does this push them off Rafinha? Does this leave Leeds in the clear to go in for Otavio? It's very interesting. And it does look like they are. I don't know why they're going for them. Are they trying to spite Perez? Are they trying to spite Real Madrid? What is going on here with this? This does seem to have come completely out the blue. However, it would be a very good deal. I mean, you saw how he performed in the semi-final against Manchester City. It does look like Rafinha to Liverpool is off the cards, and we'll have to see how this Otavio thing links up. But with Liverpool in the market for Rodrigo instead, I feel like the agent is in here to talk with Leeds United instead. And finally, the third attacker that Leeds have been linked with is, of course, Cody Gakpo. No new news to touch on as of yet. However, there was an interesting story by Sam Stone today, basically saying how Leeds should prioritise Jules de Ketelaere and, of course, Cody Gakpo over Otavio. And it's interesting, he basically goes on to talk about the fact that his XG to goal ratio is a lot higher than it is for someone like Otavio. Obviously, Otavio also being older at the age of 27. And then also touching on the fact that de Ketelaere and Gakpo both possess the ability to play in a variety of positions across the front line, which could benefit Marsch's 4-2-2 system massively, as they could both either play as one of the inverted wingers behind the front two or featuring one of the striking positions. A little bit more versatility, younger in age, better XG to goal ratio. These are a few things looking away from the favour of Otavio, looking more into the Cody Gakpo realm of possibility. However, you do have to play devil's advocate. Look at the fact that he is older than both of them. Therefore, he is a bit less of a gamble. Someone who you could expect to have more experience and could slot straight into the Leeds team, help us get some consistent goals and assists into the squad. 27, not too old, just about hitting his prime right now. Could be more of a reliable option. However, Leeds are in the gambling business. I was watching Conor McGilligan the other day. He was saying Leeds are in the gambling business. We need to gamble. Signing Rafinha in the first place was a gamble. Letting go of these players, bringing in young players, bringing Jesse Marsch in, who's relatively unproven in the league. It's all a gamble. And because of the position we're in, because of our financial constraints, we have to take gambles if we are to push up in the league. And would you rather take a gamble on someone like Gakpo or de Ketelaere, or would you rather go for someone probably a little bit more proven in Otavio? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section down below. Or should there be one last midfielder that is a lot more Premier League proven than all of them, and that is this man, Christian Eriksen? It does seem like as time goes on, it's basically between Brentford and Man United as to who actually keeps him. Christian Eriksen is reportedly close to actually staying at Brentford as well, but they go on to talk about here about how he could play in the 4-2-2 system as a DM, actually, next to Roca, who's apparently working on his physicality and could replace more of the physicality that we lost with Kalvin Phillips, and then use Christian Eriksen as like a deep-lying playmaker kind of player, which is very interesting. If we got Eriksen, a lot of people were talking about putting him higher up the pitch. Putting him in that DM role would be very interesting to see. However, I don't think that there's any chance of us actually getting Christian Eriksen. And then finally, another player who we could get, and another player who Leeds fans really don't want, is Adama Traore. Every time I talk about this, you guys tell me, no, James, I do not want this guy. But apparently, Director of Football Victor Orta is a huge fan of Wolves winger Adama Traore, and he's once again being linked with a move to Ellen Road, and with moves for de Ketelaere and potentially Otavio looking in doubt, with other clubs lurking. Could Traore be a more likely option to see at Ellen Road next year? And if so, would you be happy if we only got him and one other midfielder? Let me know down in the comment section down below which one of these moves you want Leeds to really progress on. But for now, I will see you very, very soon. Au revoir, my brothers and my sisters.